With less than a month to the 2023 general elections, a non-partisan organization, ElectHer, says it is another opportunity to address key issues that negatively impact women's participation in politics and governance processes. Chief Executive Officer ElectHer, Ibijoke Faborode, stated this in Abuja at the launch and presentation of Election Security Assessment Report. FCT correspondent Osom Raphael has details.
Women's participation in election as voters, campaigners, candidates and managers is often confronted by harassment, intimidation, defamation and physical abuse, despite severe consequences of electoral violence that impact the scope of women's political participation. So far, very narrow attention has been drawn to this issue. A report launched by a non-partisan end-to-end women's political advancement organization, ElectHer, highlights the various security threats that exist and may pose a challenge for the smooth conduct of the 2023 general elections, with particular emphasis on security that female candidates and voters face ahead of the upcoming elections.
We talked about different killings from, the woman leader that was burnt, the one that was killed, women that were threatened. Particularly, we actually spoke about the experiences of women that we supported, at the primary election stages, where we actually knew of women. Unfortunately, we can't mention names, right, to protect their identity because they're still part of the political party system. But some of those women had to drop out of the race. Some of those women, just could not confidently campaign as it got intense, especially women that were very strong during the primary elections. They had cases of threats, physical violence.
The 2023 elections, despite its potential, remains a key topic for general and global debates with a mix of anxiety and pessimism. This, however, is not far-fetched given the current state of security, which continues to undermine the conduct of a free and fair election, and the Nigerian economy plagued by rising inflation, debt crisis, and massive decline in foreign direct investment.
Of this report was so important, where we begin to help people understand what exactly is at stake in terms of the economic reality. If we have a violent 23 election, if women are at risk or at higher risk, what is going to happen to the economy? The World Bank development updates for 2022 stated that FDI flows into Nigeria do not compare favorably with similar economies of the world, reflecting difficulties in FX availability, security concerns, and other structural challenges over the year. This can result in a decrease in economic growth and an increase in poverty levels due to decreased job opportunities and access to resources.
Some stakeholders said the report offers glimpse into the issue of gender equality as well as women participation in the electoral process.
The report offers, I think, a look into the issue of gender equality, but also more specifically the participation of women in the electoral process, either as candidates or voters. And, if we have a more inclusive process, it allows for voices to be heard and for policies to be influenced that way. And so it's a healthy part of the democratic process.
Of course, the report will also inform us of the direction to go and the concerns, and how do we put our resources together, how do we synergize, how do we work together on a common agenda in ensuring that the 2023 general elections, even beyond the violence against women, is properly mitigated, and of course, increase of participation of women in elections and the governance is increased across all levels of governance.
The report on the short term recommends an improved reporting and data collection on violence against women in election through collaboration between the security agencies, INEC, and the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, amongst others. While on the long term, the inclusion of women voices in high-level strategic planning, enhancement of gender-based research, the implementation of the INEC revised gender policy with clear responsibility assigned to stakeholders are also recommended in the report. Osom Raphael, ABN.